let's move
Oh,
on to our third quarter. Let's run through some let's run through some teams that made the first round, not the play-in tournament, but made the first round. And let's kind of do a little rapid fire back and forth here, Rutledge. What are some team needs that the teams who lost in the first round? What's like a big question or storyline, or what are we kind of following to see how they can continue to improve?
need to see We're gonna start. Let's go with Memphis. I think Memphis needs to get someone that can be a really good arc shooter. A lot of where they struggled in their last playoff games is they just couldn't get those shots to go in. Ja Morant is a good talent, but they need someone that can, as he even tried to shoot at other people, they didn't have that depth that even older Warriors team has. They just need to be able to make those shots.
Yeah, Memphis, 3 words: Grizzlies, grind, always. 3 words. We need a Memphis Grizzly. We need some guys on that roster to continue to add just grinders, but grinders on defense, kind of a 3-and-D kind of guy. That's what I'm talking about. Memphis needs some more 3-and-D kind of guys that can come in and continue to spread the floor for Ja Morant for his star to continue to blossom. So next up, we have Dallas. Rutledge, what do the Dallas Mavericks need to do?
They need one thing and one thing only: more supporting cast for Luka. They need to get it. Luka's great, went on a huge run, but it's right now in this league. You can't have one star; they have to be others. I don't think you need to do a lot. Lucas is kind of like a Giannis. Luka is like a Giannis, to where he just needs a few people around him, but you just got to find some help. Luka, of course, is a little younger, doesn't need as much help.
Although Luka's younger, remember he was playing professional basketball at age 14, so that's pretty impressive. I was still afraid to talk to girls at age 14. Luka, yeah, they need help, and 3 words: Dame Lillard sweepstakes.
Oh, no, you didn't.
The Dallas Mavericks need to be in that Dame Lillard sweepstakes to try to add another really good piece, take some pressure off of Kristaps.
Definitely. Connor, are you out there? All right. Well, Connor's buffering, so I'm pretty sure he's going to come back. So I'm going to cruise the way here and keep on going. So outside of having that, we had Connor mentioned the Dame Time sweepstakes and talking about that Dallas gets Damian Lillard. I don't think it's Dallas. I really want to see Dame Time, Game Time go to the Lakers. They need a third piece where you can maybe put AD more in that big man role and leave him kind of down in the paint to finish. LeBron James, while he's never been the pull-up shooter to run the perimeter, Damian Lillard's kind of that fast, speedy piece that you can come into. Of course, we know that Damian Lillard has put out there that he wants to trade. He wants to go. I think I could see him being a Laker more than I could see him being a Maverick. Now they're going to have to figure out how they're going to afford him. Does LeBron James take a contract reduction? What can they do? There was a great Scooter Magooter skit where, if you don't know him, he's a YouTuber out of the Orlando area, and he had a really good take on saying, "Hey, we didn't help Dame. We did nothing to help Dame. Why couldn't we help him?" So I like that idea. I think it'd be super funny to get Dame into Los Angeles and kind of go back off of what that said. But that's the direction I would go with sort of Game Time is let's bring him to Los Angeles. Let's make him a Laker. Let me see if we can get Connor back in here. I'm gonna hold really quick. We're gonna pause. I'm going to send Connor my meeting information, see if I can bring him back into the show. I want to know what you guys think. Draw some stuff in the comments. You know, where do we think that we see, where do you see Damian Lillard going? He did come out and openly say he wants to be traded, that he does not want to keep wasting his exceptions. You know, is this a bad use of Portland as a franchise, which is a more small market team? Is this a bad use of having Carmelo Anthony on the roster, who gets a lot of hype for who he is, but doesn't produce as much as what he's told that he gets to produce? So there's a lot of different stuff that could happen with Damian Lillard. I think he will be the big news story that tracks. So I'm saying Damian Lillard needs to go to the Lakers. As for Portland, they're going to have to figure out what to do. If they trade Damian Lillard, who do they get? Do they go in after draft picks and try to go into the lottery, which doesn't work the same as in other leagues? Do they go out and do they really just sort of gut the roster, get rid of Damian Lillard, get some other players, really try to build over? Damian Lillard is a top talent to have. So who knows what they're going to do or where they're going to go. But that's up for Portland. I'm going to keep cruising along. Washington. The Washington Wizards busted back, came to the playoffs. And as they came back, busted back in and came to the playoffs, they had, wait, hold on. I think we have him back. I think we got back Connor. I think we got him. This is not the night for technology. Real friends, real sports, real glitches. He's lying. He's coming in, people. Connor is back. Give him a shout out. Good to see that he made it. Connor, are you out there? The moment's of suspense. Is he coming back? Do we know what we're doing? Do we need to get better Wi-Fi? Connor, are you alive? Did you go for snacks? Well, I can see his face. Okay. Wait, are you there? I will say the chat is blowing up with just people ripping.
Gotta
up the
love
pieces.
technology, everybody. Playoffs, and we have struggled. So,
all right, Connor.
We are very excited to continue everything that's going on.
While you were away, I want to fill in what we talked about while you were out. Is you said Damian Lillard to Dallas. I said Damian Lillard to the Lakers. And I think that Portland needs to offload Damian Lillard, and they need to sort of make that.
Rutledge online.
Connor, are you back established? Oh no, we're just going to keep going. You're back. You're not back. All right, so we're going to keep moving on. But anyways, there's a lot to do in the NBA. I want to keep going on and keep going with teams. So the Washington Wizards, you have Russell Westbrook, who we mentioned has got a couple years left on his contract. You have Bradley Beal, who's there. They need to get in someone who's an off-season group to just sort of be a little bit of a piece, because while those guys, Russell Westbrook set the triple-double record and they're putting up 30-something points, there's no one else to kind of contribute to that team. They made some playoff moves, and what I liked about it, besides the fan that ran on the court, the fan base in Washington got excited. So that is what we like to see. I think they just need to kind of make the system work, maybe having entire off season, some time to recover. Can Washington kind of figure it out? Can they bring it back together? Moving on, 2-3 more teams to go. So we're going to take it up to the Big Apple and talk about the Knicks. New York Knicks with Derrick Rose made the playoffs. They're there and they're made their way in. Is this the start of a good New York Knicks? Was this a fluke? You know, we did have one of the kind of contenders at the time was the Orlando Magic. They got rid of everybody because they had some injuries and they had some salary cap issues and some roster issues. So they just decided to trade over and start over. Are the Knicks positioned in a good position, or will other teams in the East affect them? They got in some playoff games. They got handled by the Hawks. So I believe it's because the Hawks are better than people are giving them credit for, but not as much. Continue this rapid fire down. The Miami Heat. Last year's NBA Finals, the Miami Heat. Miami Heat were in it to win it. They got completely destroyed by a Lakers team that was not, well, last year's Lakers team was built to win a championship because it had something that I believe is important in basketball, bench depth. They had strong bench depth on the Lakers, which is why they made handle of the Heat. The Heat ran into some COVID protocols. I think for one game they had over 20 players out, right, Connor?
I don't think the Heat had 20 players out
But it was a lot.
because you literally can only carry 12. I think 15 is the max. So I don't think they had 20 out. But yeah, I could see them having some issues there. Sorry for the technical difficulties, everybody, but we seem to be back and better than ever.
We are back and we are better. So to catch you up, Connor, I think Damian Lillard needs to be a Laker. I think Portland needs to start over. I think Beal and Westbrook need to make some strides and get an off-season grab this year to support them. I think the Knicks may be onto a question mark of a start, but it's going to depend on how the rest of the East lays out from the offseason. Any little takes you have on those teams?
Yeah.
Including the Heat. What do the Heat need to do to fix up? Because I really think they got bit by some bad COVID injury bugs. So I really think they just need to be fully all in, and then Heat culture can take over.
Well, they also had the very truncated offseason, right? You know, they played the Lakers at the very end of the season last year, which, you know, was an issue. You know, working backwards, I think for the Knicks, you know, they need to find some more offense. This is an offensive league. I think they played awesome and probably played above their weight class, but they need to add somebody on the offensive side and have somebody that could tell Tom Thibodeau to quit worrying so much about defense. This game is about scoring more than the opposition. For the Lakers, I think that the Lakers could also very well go get Dame. I think that the Lakers and the Mavs are the two teams in the Damian Lillard sweepstakes. And for Portland, you know, the big question, right? I see kind of these teams: Dallas, Portland, LA. Yeah, maybe a couple other I'm not thinking of, but it's almost like star realignment, right? I think we're going to see a little musical chair of stars going on. That usually means one team is going to get left out, but we'll see who that is. Maybe there'll be a 4-team trade where Russell Westbrook goes to Portland and Lillard goes to the Lakers, and you know, the Lakers give a little star power to the Wizards. Who knows? So that's how I feel about that. You know, as it relates to the Celtics, you know, kind of, you know, they had a lot of injuries. Boston they've kind of been, I don't know if it's snake bit or just there's been something that's been kind of goofy with the Celtics over the past couple of years, but you know, one of the reasons that Brad Stevens is probably the head of basketball operations now is Boston didn't want to face him as a coach. So we'll see how he does in that basketball operations role.